What's going on YouTube? Chris here. Want to bring you all an update today of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, Neo, and Digibyte. So those are the five we're going to be going over. But first of all, I wanted to start talking about something that's important to me. Number one, when I first got in this space, scammers were everywhere. And as the price of Bitcoin's been rising again, you're seeing the scammers everywhere constantly. So number one, what I want to say is, guys, be extremely careful. Don't ever send your coins to addresses that you don't know the people. Be very smart about that. But also, I think for this video and going forward for the next week or so at least, I'm going to turn off the comments because I can't stand all the spam comments when 90% of them are spam and I can't keep up with them. I own a business. I have another job. This is something that's, sixth down my list of importance. And I can't keep up with all the scamming, spamming, all that type of stuff. And I hate that about the cryptocurrency space. That's the one thing that I hate, is all the deceptions, the deceit, the scamming. I'm not for that at all. I'm for the technology. I'm for the trading of this. But that's the type of stuff that just greatly frustrates me, and I'm just not going to have it. So I apologize to the people who are giving me comments down there. I appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to try this for a week, but I can't have 90% of my comments as scam stuff, and I just can't keep up with it. So they come in so hot and just over and over and over, and it doesn't stop. So that's what I'm going to do for now, guys. I apologize for going on that rant, but it needs to be said, and just be careful, okay? So if you get some from these videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we're going to dig into this. First of all, let's take a look at Bitcoin. We're stepping out on Bitcoin here. This is going to be on the one-day time frame. We're still looking at that $10,000. We've had a lot of wicks back here, and we're going to zoom into that, and I'm going to show you these wicks that we've talked about at support levels. But what's going to be important is that we get volume with these wicks on top of that support. Very important that the volume comes along with it, because now, guys, what happens from here, we have to start getting back up through these moving averages that we've lost. In green, that's going to be our 60, and in purple, that's going to be our 30 EMA. We're below that, and right now we're fighting to close back up above that 100 because we actually lost that a little bit as well. And one thing I wanted to point out, early in the last bull market that we had here, there was twice that we came back and we actually dropped a little bit below that 100, and then we got moving again. Same deal, we retraced heavy back below that 100 just barely in pink here, and then we started moving again. And right now we're at that exact area, and that's why it's so important, because this last time in this bull market, we didn't even go back to test this 200 moving average. We got close to it, but we didn't even go back to test that. And if we lose this $10,000 where we're at now, we're at 10,369. If we lose that, then we're going to be looking down to that 200 moving average, see if we can find support, and that would be down at $9,000 if we do drop to that area. But this is where we want to find support, because we've already had the cross of our 100 over top of our 200. We want to keep this momentum moving to the upside. Want to put in our higher low here, and then go up there and try to make that next higher high and get over top at 12,463 is what we're going to be looking at here. The RSI is at 40 right now. So the nice thing about it is we're nice and cooled off. If this is an area where we can find support, we have plenty of room to go up and make that next higher high, because the RSI is not in those overbought conditions of 80 or, in crypto space, I say 80 or higher. A lot of books will say 70 or higher, but in this space, I think it's 80 or higher is what I really like to do. But as we take a look here now at these wicks, this is what you want to see, though, in terms of defense of support. These long wicks, these clusters of wicks, a lot of times can tell you that potentially the bottom after this fall could be in here if we can get that volume moving here. And right now we're a little below average on the volume, so it really needs to step back up. So we're not out of the woods yet here. Another thing I wanted to point out for the technicals, we are at a 12 sell, 10 neutral, and a 6 buy. Oscillators 2 sell, 9 neutral, and a 0 buy. So we've been gaining just slowly day after day here. Last time it was a 13. The last video from yesterday was a 13 sell, and now we're at that 12. So just trying to find that support. We need those buyers to step in and get a candle, something similar to that, to the upshot side, to show that we're going to get that volume, because now we have a lot of overhead resistance that we have to try to get up through, right? All right, guys, so that's going to be Bitcoin there. Next, we're going to move into Ethereum. ETH is $368 right now. Same deal with Ethereum. If we zoom in, You can see how we wicked up today. We tried to touch this 30 EMA. So obviously these are important. When you lose them, guys, they can start acting as overhead resistance. And that's why we don't particularly like to lose them. We want to keep them as support. But when we do lose them, like we did back here, you see when we got this red cross and we were getting pushed to the downside, then we had a big dump after that, started moving until we got that next green cross, and that set us up here. So what we're trying to do is get back up above that so we don't have one of these crosses to the downside where our 30 crosses down through our 60. Okay, same deal. We need continuous volume to come in here. You can see the wicks, how the buyers were stepping in at that area we looked at for months, $332. We talked about that being a buy area. That was hit. I picked up a little bit of Ethereum in that area. That was also off the 100 moving average there. So you can see we had the wick down to the 100, and now we're trying to get that reaction bounce out of here to start getting up through some higher levels. So overhead resistance, we're going to look at $381. We're going to need to get up above. In terms of support, I want to continue to hold $332. That's going to be a key area for me. Talked about it for a long time. I want to see us continue to hold that like we did with these longer wicks here. RSI is at 47. You can see how we're starting to turn up a little bit there. We did get a higher low on the RSI on the one-day chart here, and we're just going to have to see if we can keep that moving, because this was an aggressive fall here, guys. We got almost up to $500 here, and then we had two big bars of selling off. So those are the whales there. You can tell they're very similar all the time in size. Take a look at these bars. This is the same as the next one, and then you also have some of these ones that are even more extreme, but for the most part, it's the same amount of money that's getting moved in and out, and it's these whales who will manipulate this market whichever direction that they want to take it. So we're going to look at price action the best that we can, but the whales are in control, and you always need to know that. The next one we're going to get into is Link. Let's see here. Link's at $12.80 right now. So we ended up getting a nice little bounce off this area that we circled the last time we looked at Link. We had these longer wicks here. We had a bullish engulfing candle. Came up here, and now we started to get a little bit of a sell-off, and we're trying to rally, see if we can get up through that 30 EMA, and that's going to be in purple. That's at $13.42. So that's going to be the next overhead resistance. Then it's going to be up around $13.92. You can see this red overhead resistance. And that's what we're trying to change, because in the short term here, you can see the downtrend that's been taking place, the lower highs and lower lows that have been coming in. So we're trying to switch that back to those higher highs and higher lows. In terms of support, we want to keep holding where we got this bullish engulfing candle, because it did come on heavier volume as well. And that's roughly going to be at about $10.56. And then it's going to be down around this $8.92. And this was another area we had in for quite a long time, guys. I told you I had buy areas or buy orders in that area. I just barely missed them. You can see we wicked down to it, but we didn't tap that green line. But that's, you know, when the price was up here and we were looking at these tweezer tops at $20, people thought I was nuts when I was talking about $8 or $9 that we could get back to, and we got to it. And that's technical analysis, guys. Typically, these monster moves that happen, they're going to retrace at least 50%, is what I've been learning and figuring out. So this last time, we retraced all the way back down to the 0.786. So we retraced 78% of that entire move there. That's the importance of taking your profit. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there again. All right, guys, so that's going to be Link. And if we take a look at the technicals, we're sitting at a 9 sell, 9 neutral, 10 buy. So just very neutral right now is what we're dealing with for Link. Next, we're going to get into Neo. This is one I really like. Neo's at $18.13. Been a little bit stronger. You can tell the wicks were being defended here at the 30 EMA. A lot of the other coins, we're looking back at the 100 here. So Neo's been a little bit stronger. The only thing I'm not liking is the volume. So as we're trying to make this move off the 30 here, we're still having below average volume. So I don't like that aspect, because this is when the volume should really be swelling up, so we don't just get one of these little pushes up and then we drop back down to a lower level. If we do drop to lower levels, I'm going to look for support at about $15.50. Overhead resistance, that's going to be up at about $19.01 if we want to keep this running. RSI is at 52, just running very neutral right now. If we take a look in at the technicals, see if he'll give it up for me here. You can see how it's ahead. We have a 5 sell, 9 neutral, and a 14 buy. Oscillators 2 sell, 8 neutral, and a 1 buy is what we're looking at there. So that's going to be Neo, guys. Really keep that one on your radar. It's been up to $200 before. And if you take a look at this pattern, if I zoom out here, look how low we are after this massive move that we've had. We've truly just been shaken out. Now we're starting to get those impulse waves back to the upside if we can keep this momentum going. So the next one, that's Neo. If you like me covering that, Guys, smash that like button, and then we will get down into Digibyte here. And Digibyte is 0.023350 in terms of the price right now, trying to find support. We actually have dropped below the 100. So Digibyte's been a little bit weaker as opposed to some of the other altcoins right now. We really had a pretty deep drop since these tweezer tops here. We have went down. Let's do a price range. We roughly went down about 50%. So now we're trying to find that bottom with these longer wicks here. Today would be a bullish engulfing candle, but the volume just really isn't there right now. So we need to be careful in this spot for Digibyte. You know, like I've talked about with Digibyte, I think this is one that you don't necessarily want to trade because the volume's really low. It's better that if you have confidence in it, you know, long-term invest. And after 50% drops like this would be an area where you say, okay, longer term dollar cost average, and this wouldn't be a bad spot to pick up a little bit more Digibyte. And then if it drops down, you know, to the 200, then you pick up a little bit more and you increase your bids in your buying, because most likely we will find support down here around that 200 if we do have another drop to the downside, and that'd be at 0.01713 would be the spot. Okay, and then for overhead resistance, we got to get through this 100 right here and start candle closing up above that. The RSI is at 42 right now. If we take a look in at the technicals, 11 sell, 10 neutral, and a 7 buy is what we're looking at there. So if you get something from this, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. God bless each and every one of you. Take care, my friends.